Hey, it's Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and it's Friday. It's May the 17th. It's been another really good trading day, and there's a couple of different ways to look at today. I believe that we had a channel going up here. We had the break, and we're working on the retest. But we may have another channel right here. Notice that we bounced off these lows all the time. Now, where this upper channel is, it's hard to say. It could be right there, but the reason I'm leaning towards right here is that I have a target of right there. And notice that this is our first leg up. You can see I measure that. And then if I move it over, it gives us this target right here. But you could also measure this first leg here and move it up, and you'll still get about the same place. If you move it over, it would, let me just look at that again. Yeah. If you go from there to there, you get a little below 1659. And I can't remember what this one was. Well, this one looks more realistic, and you see we're still heading higher. I went ahead and exited. I actually traded this one, and I exited my runners right up here. When we broke to a new high, I just exited. I put my orders right there at the new high, and there we go. And it could be that this channel is on up here, maybe even here, but I'm leaning towards right here just because we get that target right there. So we'll see what happens. Man, you had to be patient on this thing. Got the scalp fairly quickly, but and there really was a breakout pullback long here, and I was tempted to add on, but I just got sick of sitting in all this. It's after 1 o'clock, and I really had already met my target. This was such a good setup, I couldn't pass it up. I really thought we'd move quickly back up here. It's taken an hour, a couple of hours, so who knows, but great setup, and we'll see if this ends up being the channel up here, or if we just get a retest and then sell off. We'll just have to see. But let's go back and start about the first trades. And it was obvious we had a trend line right here. You should have easily had this line in place before we got down here off these highs. And people continue to send me their charts, and I look at their channels, and they're not right. They're close, but they're not right. If you notice how well prices fit inside this channel, except for this one little break here, but you can see when it came back, and then when we broke out of it, we came back and tested it. So you have to, if your channel's not fitting, and when I say fitting, you're going to see it affecting prices multiple times. You see we're about to that target there. I wish I'd have held on. um, so make sure you got your channels right, because it's critical. It's critical. And what I did was drew it off those first couple of bars inside the closes there. And really, even if you didn't get it there, you could have gotten it off the top. Um, and then you just drag it down. You see it's an exact replica of the one down below. And so it fits real good right there. And it fits real well on the bottom. So your channels have to fit. And notice this bar here. Notice how many times we bounced off of it. That's confirming that this line is valid here. And so we may just have a different channel here with a little overshoot of it, maybe all we really have here. And that happens sometimes. But my guess is that's because some of the people were seeing this channel and then a break and a new high, and then we kind of corrected, and now we're headed back. Sometimes when you got a really good trend, this may not be enough to turn it, but looks like it probably was. And we corrected for well over, I'd say the correction started, well, it really started on this double top, but we'll call it here at 9:30. And here's when the correction really ended at noon. So, we got a couple of hours there, over a couple of hours. So definitely everything was met there that based on how we call the rules. So, but anyway, let's talk about the trades. First trade I saw, there's a little failed second entry short here. We're working up. Everything's above the EMA. Nice trade. It was, you got to question this because it's real close to the trend line, but traps don't fail very much, especially when prices are steadily moving higher like that. So easy scalp, no runners, and then we come selling off here. Um, you get a nice reversal bar. You got matching lows. You got a possible trend line down across here. You can see that right there, and it's come in play all day. We bounced right off it, but really you didn't need this line. All you know, this is the first break of the trend line, and it might, at that point, it may not even been a break because it might have been down here, or as big a break anyway. It may have just been a slight close outside it, but I still think it fits better right there. But anyway, nice reversal bar, go long above it. If you want to wait for the second entry, it was right here. Easy trade, straight up. Depending on how you entered, your runners should have been safe. And, you get several points out of them. So a great trade right out of the gate. Two of them here, two chances, chance to add on or take a second trade. And now looking at this might even be here, because that all got outside, and notice how it's holding, and so that may be your channel right there. So something else to think about. You don't have to get these things just right all the time, but you got to be close. You can't be completely off, because the person that sent me theirs today and they had it wrong, they actually had two different channels drawn off of this right here. Neither one of them fit very well, but they still found these same three trades that I had. So it wasn't a problem. And then you got a second entry long here off this line. Notice this, two-legged pullback, a little trap down here, turns up. Drop a limit order in there. Definitely use a limit order. That's what I did. And got just enough to get a scalp, then it sells off. And if you wanted to go long here, I don't recommend it, because now look what happened. You got a double top. You might have already had a trend line breakdown here. And if you did enter here, you just about had to enter with a limit order to make sure you got enough room to get out. I just don't like that trade. I didn't like going short yet either. You might have considered going short here because there's a failed second entry long, and we had the same identical setup yesterday. Exactly. Except we had a little better setup here than we did today. There weren't as many overlapping bars. Then notice a little two-legged pullback to the EMA, the trend line we got going here. Nice sell-off. Great setup. And then we broke above it. We came back and tested it. And that's what you'll see sometimes on the shorter-term trend lines. You don't get a new low. You may get a retest of the trend line, and that's retested and went higher. I didn't like going long. There's not any real good setups here. You might have gone long right here, but I think it was risky at that point, because you never know if you don't break lower and still come back down and give a better retest than that. So I just didn't like anything right there. And it was obvious we were in some kind of little trading range, and it started up here, and then I just kind of moved it down. It's probably still right there, though. You can see we were still finding resistance. But that's where you got the most touches right there using the closes. So that's where I moved it to as prices got lower. I like this trade right here. I used a limit order because it's such a big bar, but I just used it right there at the top, and it did come back and get me. Went on up. I was able to scalp out, and then I exited my runners just on the break higher right there. So pretty standard stuff today. This is a perfect example how you're trading the trend, the ranges. We're trending, so you're trading the trend, and then we trended down, so you trade the trend down somewhat, and then we went into a range. So then right here you used, if you didn't have this trend line, you didn't need it. You still had, your range rules. And then I had this line because we found a lot of support right across there. That was the last support area, and we got the most touches right there. So I had moved this line up there. And you can see we bounced right off of that there. So that's why I love that trade right there. But also you had this line right here, and we didn't close outside it. And you can see that. We maybe slightly, but as soon as it went lower, man, it reversed. That is a great reversal bar. And that is rejection of prices down here at this level. And then we made a little two-legged correction here. Hopefully you can see that. That's a two-legged correction. Looks like it's probably a measured move. There's leg one. And then notice the little two legs in the middle there. One leg, pull back, second leg. And then there's your other leg. A perfect measured two-leg correction. And then now and there we go. Look, we're right at my target. Let's see what happens here. We got a new high here too. So let's see what happens. Is this line going to be up here somewhere, or do I have it right across there? We'll see what happens. But look at that target. You could have at least got that target, and I had that. Target was in place by, that was slightly after 10, and once I saw the two-legged correction, then I'm moving this over here. And so by noon, I had that target, and we hit that target at about 1:30. So an hour and a half in advance, I had a good idea that prices were going right here. And, you know, we do this all day. And somebody sent me a chart today, and they said, I don't see any measured moves in there or two-legged corrections, and they were all over the chart. So it takes experience to see this stuff. Don't get me wrong. It's not always easy to find this stuff. But it's there. And if you keep, if you keep looking, you'll find it. And it wouldn't surprise me if there's not a measured move. Oops, didn't mean to do that. Take this leg right here and then come over to right here, and that gives us a target over right there, and look at there. So that may be the target before it's over. This one would not be as accurate, in my opinion, as this one, because the more recent price action tends to be more accurate. So, but that would have been my target on this one, was this move right here. And I wish I'd have held on to that target, because you see I'd have gotten out within a couple of ticks of what's the high right now. And, you can see this stuff every day. So it's there. It was a little, when you get in something this tight, the only way you can enter is to enter down here at the lows like I did, because there's a good chance it's going to turn back down when it gets to the highs. And so you got to be real careful. And there really wasn't any reason to be going short in here, in my opinion. I didn't like any shorts across there, even though there were some that would have worked. I didn't like them because, I'm looking at an up slanting. I'm looking at a trend that's up, and we're looking for a retest too. So too many reasons to be looking for up. And as much as they fooled everybody at the downside, they still got it up there, and you can see that. So not much more to talk about. It's just been a really good week. I figured we might end up hanging around in here before it was over, because it's Friday. It's late in the afternoon now. It's been a really good trading week. My guess is they're out partying on Wall Street. Hey, we're making another new high today, aren't we, or are we? Yeah, you see, we're making another new all-time high today. So more reason, maybe not. Here's the all-time high right here, 16. Let's just see what it is. 1659 3/4. We hadn't made it by tick yet, so I'll be shocked if we don't make a new high today. We'll see what happens. But you see that trend line right off where I thought maybe it was there, and it still could be. It still fits there because we couldn't close above that. But that looks real good right there. So we'll see what happens. But not much more to talk about today. Just follow the rules, draw your trend lines, and it all tends to work out. And, make sure your trend lines are fitting. That one might even been more like that right there. Still got a break right there and then move to a new low. And again, they don't have to be perfect, but they got to be close. And, if you're coming up here and you've got something like this right here, and just don't notice how it fits, and it's close, and it might get you to the same place, but look how much better it fits on mine. You want to play with it till you find where it fits the best on both sides, and that's generally a good clue that you got it right. And if you can't figure out where it's at, keep playing around. That one fits best right down through there on that side. Just try the other side. Let's see what that gives us. That gives us a little steeper channel there. And that's really where the trend started down right there. We were kind of still going up at this point, but that's when it started down. And so that's how I do it, to try to, find the best fit. And, if you can't find it on one side, sometimes it's easier on the other. And it was really easy to draw that line right off those closes across that high right there and just drag it down till you found a good fit. I mean, it's not that hard to do. But it does take experience, so don't, if you aren't seeing it yet, don't let it, uh, you know, don't let it get you down, because it takes time to learn all this stuff. And you can't just come in here and read the manual or read a few of the articles on the website and open a trading account and start trading and expect to make money. It doesn't work like that. It takes a while. It took me a long time to learn this stuff. And it does everybody else that becomes successful. But once the thing I'll tell you is I still get better every day. I'm still getting better. Um, and the more you sit here and watch prices move, the more experience you get and the better you're going to get. So just keep that in mind and never give up. Just keep working on it, but don't go trading live. If you can't make money for a month or two on the simulator, what makes you think you're going to make any money trading live? And that's what I know. Everybody's eager. I get these emails and people are eager to trade live. And I'm not trying to discourage you from trading live, because that's where you want to get to. But what I can tell you is, and I told this to somebody today, and, I hope I didn't hurt his feelings, because that wasn't my intent, but, he's not even ready to put on a uniform and sit on the bench, much less get up and bat as a designated hitter in a World Series. And I don't know any simpler way to put it. I mean, he's asking me questions that are just simple, basic. So there's no way he needs to be trading live. He's just not ready. And it's no knock to him, but he just started trying to learn this stuff a month or two ago, I believe. So, he's not even scratched the surface yet of being ready to trade live, because when you step up into trading futures, especially this mini S&P, you're going up against the best traders in the world. I can tell you that right now. And they don't make many mistakes. And you got to know what you're doing. And you got to understand when prices are in this little thing and breaking lower here, you got to understand, I'm still thinking prices are going up here, and all the weak traders are all getting short and getting trapped. And that's what happened when we finally broke higher. They ran all their stops, because they put their stops above this right here. And you can see when it broke through there, it shot up real fast. So just be aware that, until you can make money consistently, and I don't mean for a few days or maybe even a couple of weeks, for a couple of months. If you can't make money every day for a couple of months, or double or triple, what I usually tell people is start with somewhere between around a $5,000 sim account. And when you can double it, you're probably ready to start trading singles or maybe doubles and going live, but not a moment before that, because if you do, you're just going to donate your money to somebody else. And again, I'm not trying to discourage anybody, but you won't hear that message everywhere. Most people want you to buy their stuff, and they want you to think it's easy and that you're going to be able to read their material and start making money. But it doesn't work like that. It takes a long time to learn to do what we teach here, but it's learnable. And if you ever do learn it, you're going to make money. You're going to be successful. And I can promise you that. But you got to learn it first. And it doesn't happen in a few weeks, and it usually doesn't happen in a few months. It usually takes, a year or longer. I started making money consistently after about a year, but I didn't get really good until about 9 months after that, because I would still make mistakes that would hurt me big time. I would go, I might win every day for 2 weeks, but I'd have a single blowout losing trade that I was too proud to admit, hey, you got a loser, and close it and get back on and make it back. Instead, I'd hang on hoping it'd come back, and I'd blow a whole week's worth of profit on one trade. So it took me about another 8 or 9 months to break that habit and really become a truly successful trader. So if you add all that time up, it took me almost 2 years. I was pretty good at reading the price action after a year, but I still had my middle demons that took me another 8 or 9 months to work through. And so you're probably going to have the same issues. Even once you start to learn this stuff, you're still going to have those mental lapses, those mental mistakes that become from the emotions that are created as traders. And there's just no way around it. So Anyway, I think 20 minutes is Friday. I hope you had a great week. It's been one of the best weeks of trading I can remember in a long time. We're getting consistent movement, and it's not always in the same direction, but if you follow the price action and follow the rules, you're going to get there. And so keep working on it. But I'm going to wrap it up. I'm going to call it a weekend. This is Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and we'll see you next time.